You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live, Geek Nerd Tech, featuring a weekly roundup of tech news and gossip. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, Geek Nerd Tech.
Yes.
Indeed.
You're listening to the sounds of Stockton Productions.
Oh, okay.
Hey, all right.
We'll take it. That's right. Welcome to Geek Nerd Tech, episode 14. The devil is a lie. Geeks are the truth. I'm Joe Braswell. I'm joined as always by my brother Achilles Shine.
Yes, sir.
How
In
you
the
doing
building.
today?
I'm doing good, man. It's been an interesting month thus far.
Okay, how you doing in levels?
You can boost me up.
Okay. Yeah?
Yeah, that's
All
good.
right, good.
I'm solid.
All right. And we are joined today by a special guest.
Yes, we have an incredible guy in the building today. He is a technology consultant. He's one of my good buddies. Eric Woodard, I'd like to welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me,
What's
guys.
good? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Looking forward to this.
All right. Yeah, we have a lot to discuss. We also have our guy, Stephen Lemieux, on the ones and twos and the wheels and steels, keeping it real.
Yeah.
So yeah, big giant week in the geek world, in the nerd culture world, and in the tech world, and in the entertainment world. We're gonna try to touch a little bit of all of it. We're gonna get to some video game stuff. We're gonna get to some tech stuff as always. We're gonna get to some Oscar stuff. We're gonna start with some Oscar stuff actually, because the Oscars, as we know, were last Sunday. We do our shows on Friday, so we're always a little late. Now we're like a full week late on a discussion that's been happening all week, but we'd be remiss if we didn't have a conversation about a couple things.
Absolutely.
Namely, our girl, Lupita,
Yes.
winning for 12 Years a Slave. Patty, that was a
Patsy.
Patsy, excuse me. Patsy. Fantastic win. I was rooting. I put my picture of her and me together on Instagram to try to give her some luck, because she needed to type to make sure the world knew that she was associated with me.
Absolutely.
For at least one day, half a day, maybe 3 minutes.
Her winning that award, man, it was electrifying. Like,
Yeah.
I felt really emotional seeing her win, and just her experiencing that, being that she got the role and she was still in school. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's an incredible
Super
projection to success.
Yeah,
like,
she's
to go
3
from
weeks away from
a
graduating.
college student to winning an Oscar, that's amazing to me.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is she's, I think it's like the 5th person that's won in their debut.
Right.
It's like Barbara Streisand, Eva Marie Saint, a girl J Hud did it, Mary Poppins, Julie Andrews did it, and one more person did it, Marty Matlin. So it's a very small crew to be able to say the first thing I dropped to win an Oscar. But she's a sister, so that's even better.
Yeah, man. What's your take on that?
I mean, I still haven't seen the movie.
You could have said I saw the movie, but
Just wanted to keep it honest. But no, I think it's a great thing. Like, I think even more so outside of like her heritage and her how I can relate to her. I think the part about, it's because I saw her speech and she was saying, no matter where you're from, anything is possible, kind of just speaks on what you said, like to be that close to graduation and to be that focused and you know what you want out of life going into graduation and to get it almost immediately. It's like, the trajectory is impossible at that point. Like, no one can really tell you anything at this point. Like, you cannot do anything. Like, you won an Academy Award. Like, you won the highest. So, like, now all you need is Best Actress.
Exactly.
Like, and you're good for life. So I think she's already off to a great start. Like,
sure.
It's a pretty inspiring situation.
I think it's uncommon, too, that we see such a young, black, dark-skinned woman who's able to have this, as you say, trajectory of success. Like, in fact, we've never really seen this. Well, I mean, that's
75 years ago, Hattie McDaniel was dark skinned. She won.
But she wasn't young.
Man, Hattie wasn't.
Oh, but stop it.
She wasn't 3 weeks away from graduation.
No, but she wasn't old. She just looked old.
Okay.
I'm gonna get age.
Fair enough. I don't know how old she was. So I'm
gonna ask Mr. Internet how old Daniel was. But go ahead. I'm saying I'm not to diminish your point. Go ahead.
I mean, just the point is that, I mean, I'm really proud that we're seeing, I guess, a variation from the normative look of what a black actress is, which is usually a fair-skinned, lighter skinned person. Like, and we're seeing, you know, more of a well-rounded description of a black woman that's getting a lot of media attention, that's getting sponsorships, that's getting, you know, articles and all this, you know, media attention. I think that's what's really cool for me to see as a black man, as a black person, and I just applaud her, man. Like, I was really excited that she won this award.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying not to bring it up, but I can't say I didn't think about it. In the fact that yes, she is black, but she's not African American, so it's like, you know, part of me wonders, you know, even the people that were nominated this year, like, you know, you got all this buzz, like, oh man, it's 4 blacks, but they're not African American. So as an African American that can't really trace his lineage back, you know, part of me, I can't look at it quite the same because they're on an international level. You know, there's always been this bigger acceptance of like that color of black skin versus like the other color of black skin. So it's like, how much is it really saying about the industry and how open it are and, you know, how freeing it is?
Of course.
And then, like, you know, they're all from the same, you know, even the guy from Captain Phillips, like,
right.
You know, he's American, but he's Somali American. Like,
Right.
and, you know, he doesn't look like an African American that was just brought here type of thing. So, you know, it's something to kind of like, at least I thought about, like, and kind of stuck out to me because, you know, yeah.
Yes, it's true. That's actually a good point. But I think that there is something to be said about, I mean, look, you know, like we said, my man Abdi, and we talked about last week how there's been a lot of talk about African Americans and, you know, when a lot of mistakes made by journalists, which have all, you know, can't them now. But we have, you know, obviously, Steve McQueen, English, Lupita is Kenyan,
Mexican, yeah.
And you know, Brockton Abdi, I can't Somalian. So we did have John Ridley, who was African American, who did win. But you know, yeah, but it is said something. But I think that here in America, as a country, we don't even understand the difference between, you know, African American and Kenyan American and English American. So I think the perception here among white folks is probably like, oh, it's just a bunch of black folks anyway.
It is the same because if, you know, as an African American, I do the same thing. If like, you know, Emma Thompson wins, it's like, oh, okay,
right,
a white woman won. It's like she might not be from America. She might be British. Like,
I don't think that point really plays a part because if you open up a magazine or you driving down the street and you look at a billboard and you don't see any representation of black skin, like you don't ask the question, well, hey, I wonder if she's born in America.
Right.
No, you see a black person
and you're happy to see it.
Exactly. That's the point.
Okay.
Right. And as did Lupita when she said, you know, the thing that made her get into the game was watching The Color Purple. You know, back in Kenya, she saw Whoopi and she saw Oprah, and she's like, that was when the first time she saw black faces on the movie screen. It was like, oh, these people can be on the movie, you know, people that look like me can be on the movie screen. So it wasn't necessarily like American or whatever. It's just the fact that she was motivated by folks that look like her can be on the movie screen. And so that's what got her in the game, which is, you know, which is fantastic. So, you know, big ups to Lupita. Hattie McDaniel was at the ripe young age of 45.
Exactly.
So, you know, I mean, some of us are like close to that age right now, still consider themselves kind of young.
Okay.
So, I'm just saying. But your point taken. So let's move on. We got to talk about, from a tech standpoint, social media standpoint, we got to talk about the selfie, right?
Man.
The selfie heard around the world. I mean, the selfie's been talked about. I mean, it's been written about, talked about, tweeted about, chatted about. But you know, let's do it some more. So unless you're under a rock, you know that Ellen DeGeneres took a Samsung phone and did a seemingly impromptu selfie that you're seeing here with everyone squeezed in, including Peter Nyong'o, the luckiest man. Like how my man Peter squeezed in there.
He did the little mama.
Yeah.
He did.
So, and you know, and the most retweeted selfie. It's actually crashed Twitter, as we know, right? Which is fantastic.
It beat out Barack Obama's re-election numbers. When he got reelected, he had like 800,000 plus tweets, and this one was over 1 million.
So the two things I want to talk about this selfie real quick is not the fact that it was taken, blah. We know is the Samsung piece in it and the sort of the maybe the staging and the planning of it, but also want to get first and talk about what you just said, which is sort of the the pop social implications of the fact that this could crash Twitter. And it beat out Barack Obama. Like the things that are important, the Ukraine, whatever, Uganda, like anything that's happening that's really important is trending. But this is the shit that crashes it worldwide. Right. So what does that say about where we are in our culture?
I mean, my take on that is, we obviously live in a celebrity culture where people are infatuated with celebrities, with actors, actresses, musicians, entertainers. So, to see, this pantheon, if you will, of top guys and gals in one photo that seemingly is impromptu is a conversation piece. And so I think people are like, oh, this is cool. Like, it's my favorite actor or my favorite host. Like, I'm going to retweet it. Like, especially since we talked about selfie being part of the lexicon now. Yeah. And to see,
word of the year.
Yeah, word of the year. We see now these celebrities doing it in live TV. Like, that's a talking piece.
Yeah, so. I agree. What did you think about the selfie?
Nah, I kind of take the same take on it. Like, I don't think that it says we're like less aware of the fact that it beat out like the second black president getting our first black president getting reelected to a second term. But it's like if you look at that, like Bradley Cooper has his fans, like Ellen has her fans, so it's like it's compounded. So that's what I think the effect was. It's like just the amount of people in there, the amount of Oscar winners in one picture, and the fact that it's a selfie. And that it happened live on TV, and it was, quote unquote unscripted. It was like, oh man, like I got to retweet this because this is my favorite actor. Even though I might hate Jennifer Lawrence, it's like I love Bradley Cooper, or I love Brad Pitt or whatever. So I think that helped it.
Absolutely, I think that there's you touched on two things that are really important there. I think that this is sort of back to our media culture as we talked about this need of like what's important to advertisers, what's important to networks is live television, right? So the Oscars is watched worldwide by 1 billion people, and that's not necessarily counting people that are sharing, tweeting, streaming as well, but just watched by 1 billion people. It's live.
It's like we talked about with the Super Bowl, with The Walking Dead. It's a water cooler moment.
It's a water cooler moment, but you have something that's live. Now we already know when the live event's happening. We all watch with 2 screens. We watch with our phone. We watch our tablet. We watch with everything. So the Oscars is no different. So you have a situation where people are watching live, people are tweeting live. If she's gonna do a selfie on a Twitter feed with all of those followers and all of those fans, 1 billion people want to be part of that conversation.
Absolutely.
Because they're watching it live. So immediately that happens, that just goes to show you the impact of social media on our live television landscape right now. Because I guarantee you, if after Russell Wilson scored a touchdown, he pulled out did a Terrell Owens moment and did a selfie, that would crash Twitter too.
Oh man, more than 1 million.
Yeah, so really, because it's really about what you're doing in the moment when those many eyeballs are on you and you put something on a Twitter feed. That's a social experiment there, which I thought was very interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't even watch the Oscars. I was out at dinner, but I still saw that.
Yeah, well, exactly.
And it retweeted it. Like, and it was
you're like, okay.
And it was like when I saw it, it's like been retweeted like 2 minutes before. Like, so it's like, I was like, wow, this is cool. Like, got to retweet it.
That's interesting. And I don't know about the Twitter infrastructure, but that's just interesting that, the retweets upon retweets upon retweets upon retweets, at a rate that it would just crash Twitter. The idea of crashing Twitter is like insane to me.
Yeah.
Twitter is a gigantic infrastructure behemoth, I would think.
Yeah. The ground swelling of all those voices interacting on the platform.
Sure.
Like the bandwidth, it can't hold it.
Right.
But for me, I think like aside from the social media aspect of this story, just like the marketing advertiser aspect of it.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Was extremely cool. Like the fact that I think the statistic was from 2009 to 2013, Samsung spent maybe $24 million on ads running during the Oscars. This year alone, they spent $25 million.
Right.
And so the traditional commercial ads and then the product placement, converging that together, like just the impact of how their product is, being put out to the audience is crazy.
I think they're absolutely winning that smartphone battle, even though I have an iPhone 5 and I'm okay with that. It's like
I do too.
Their marketing, like their technology, like what they offer you know, Apple is not keeping up.
Not at all.
I mean, Samsung's. I mean, just turning into a Samsung commercial. I want to get back to the advertising, but I will say Samsung is a fantastic product. I mean, those smartphones are great. They're doing a really great job with all those phones, and the Galaxies are fantastic. Their marketing's great. Their products are great. I personally am an Apple guy, an iPhone guy, and I'm an iPhone loyalist, so I will be that way. But I can also recognize that Samsung is, we talked about this before in this sort of smartphone battle. And we just came back from CES a couple months ago. Samsung's doing a damn thing and continues to do so, and aggressively are attacking this space. In terms of because Apple is a little vulnerable. They've been vulnerable since Steve Jobs' passing. So Samsung's aggressively attacking this space, and this campaign is a perfect example of that. Now, the question I have for you on that is, you mentioned that this is kind of cool. There's been mixed reviews about this for both of you. They've been mixed reviews about, and it's sort of cynical. There's a high cynicism with this. There's a high cynicism Samsung, commercial in the middle of the Oscars. Ellen's waving a phone. This is bull. But there's also an element of that was very smart. I mean, you don't think at all that this was sort of contrived and cheesy, or did you think this was cool?
I wouldn't apply any cheese factor to this. I think
Absolutely
I think it's very cool. I think it's very sophisticated. It's using where we are culturally. It's using the technology that we have to promote and to sell your product. Why do you have to go the traditional route? Here's a commercial. Come up with unique, creative ways to, talk to your audience. And I think this is a great way, because you're using celebrities, you're using an event, and you're using the technology is to be used for, taking selfies. That's cool. And then the shareability aspect of it, that makes you want to go get the phone. Hey, I want to shoot that.
Oh, okay.
What was your take?
I think that its testament to non-cheesiness is the fact that it crashed Twitter. It wasn't only until after the fact that people saw articles and saw how much they were spending. It's oh, okay, now I feel cheated or duped by corporate America, blah, blah, blah. But it's you see product placement every day. Yeah. In everything. In movies dating back to the 1930s, you see
since the advent of television.
Yeah, exactly. You see product placement, so it's this was very cool. I prefer this. I'm watching a movie and it's so obnoxiously obvious that they have the Apple logo lit up on their laptop every time it opens up. It's this is. It was natural, and I think that's the point that the thing that helped it too. The fact that it was natural and it was around an event that is popular in our pop culture. Right. It felt just like something that could have happened. It could have easily been a comedic piece that she did without anybody's phone.
Right. And to your point too, Samsung also had product placement when they had the segment with the young future filmmakers. Yeah. And they ran that spec. They were using the Galaxy as well.
And also Samsung gave ABC and all the folks a bunch of stuff on the red carpet. So there was red carpet stuff with Samsung. Samsung had a giant presence here, and the fact that Ellen was live tweeting with a Samsung phone was really it was amazing.
Actually, I read that she was live tweeting with the iPhone.
Oh,
seriously?
Okay. Yeah. So personal phone.
She was.
Yeah, with her iPhone.
Maybe that explains that blurry selfie that she had of
herself. So you're an iPhone guy. Why are you trying to bash iPhones? That's a good camera. That's a hot camera. iPhone 5S. Okay, so let's move on from that. Let's get into Sandra Bullock just briefly, because as we're talking about this stuff, Gravity took home a boatload of rewards. Fantastic movie, but one of the interesting things is Sandra Bullock is due to really cash in on this movie, right? I mean, she's gonna, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, little Miss 46, 7-year-old Sandra Bullock is gonna make $70 million.
That's incredible. That's caking out, man.
That's off. That's a pretty good payday, right?
Absolutely.
That comes from a lot of the things where in a movie like that has been in development for so long. You have a lot of people get back in, they get a lot of stuff where you start reducing your front end fee and you believe in the movie, but you get a higher back end. And the movie made a lot of money, and it continues to make money, and the sales are great, and the downloads will be great, and the everything associated with the movie worldwide. The 3D ticket prices are high. She's cashing in.
Man, she's caking out, man.
Caking out.
And they call this the 20 against 20 model, where you get $20 million up front, and then you get 20% on the back end. And this is usually for the top dogs, the top actors, and it's mostly men that garner this this amount. Right. But for her to be able to have that top line up front and be able to get all the DVD stuff, like all the 3D stuff you said in terms of the movie theater stuff, the broadcast TV stuff that's gonna come, like she's gonna really cake out on that.
Right.
Plus, they didn't have nobody else to pay in the movie with like Marvin the Martian's cameo. Like,
that's true. I mean, that's not exactly. That's actually a good point. You only got really two actors in the whole movie.
Yeah.
You know exactly.
And
So.
like most actors get it on the back end, and then a lot of actors don't get anything. They just get the residuals. You know what I'm saying? So for her to be able to have, both, all three of those is amazing.
And it certainly doesn't help that it was like an incredible film. Like, and this isn't, one of the movies that you hear all the time, the technology movies that crash.
Right.
Like, because people just don't care to see it. Like, it was a great film.
Great film.
She was great in it.
Oscar-worthy performance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, but in contrast to that, I think that it's a good segue to actually talk about our guy Bakrin Abdi, who is the opposite. The opposite of that. My man, who did a great job in Captain Phillips, who was integral to that movie's success. The movie cost about $55 million, and it grossed over $100 million, and it's still counting. He has this famous line, which goes like, what, Akili?
Why you keep putting me on
You're the actor, man. Why don't you tell me to get the line?
I am the captain now. Look at me.
There you go. I knew you had it in you. Famous line, which is, it was just now a, almost borderline iconic movie line. That goes up there in the movie, on the movie reel of like iconic lines. That's going to go up there. He improv that line, ad-libbed that line on the spot. Like, a lot of the credit of this movie working goes to him. Here's the bad news. When the movie was made, he was a day player. Like, he got paid $65,000 to be in the movie. Which was, at the time seemed fairly reasonable, but no back end, no 2020 deal for him.
Not at all.
The movie goes on to be a huge success. He does get nominated for BAFTAs and Oscars and all kinds of and Independent Spirit Awards and all kinds of great stuff, but he is now broke.
Yeah.
Which is a very sad story. Like, he is literally out of money.
It's a tough situation to be in, man. To go to these heights, to go from driving a limo to the Oscars. And then, you have to ask yourself, well, what's going to happen tomorrow? Like, am I going to get opportunities to act in other films? Or am I going to just go back to, driving limos? And so, I mean, I feel for him because, like, I'm sure he's talented and I'm sure he could, do great things in film, but I don't know if those opportunities are going to come to him. I think it's a narrow route for him. Yeah. So it's going to be tough.
Did you see Captain Phillips? I'm putting you on the spot. It's okay. It's all right. Did you see the clip? I'm the captain now.
That was in the preview, okay. So like I saw that. I saw that a lot. I saw that a lot. But no, I think like what was interesting about this is it was a situation I never thought of, but it probably happens to a lot of people. Sure. Like, and especially people that aren't classically trained actors, where this isn't their field. Like, this isn't what they want to do. Like, they just kind of fell into it. Like, how often does this happen? And you get Tom Hanks, who's probably making close to what Sandra Bullock is going to make off of that. And it's like, man, like, what do you do in that kind of situation?
Yeah, it's a weird situation because it's like, it's not really, Hollywood's fault. It's one of these things that in hindsight, you want to say, way to go, Hollywood, but it's not really Hollywood's fault because the system is sort of set up. I feel like that he was maybe at the time fairly paid, and at the time fairly compensated. Now, whether or not that deal was negotiated differently, it could have been negotiated differently. Yeah. I mean, I know what his representation situation was like, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like that there should be some sort of contingent in his deal that says if the movie does X, he should make more. What are you saying?
I was going to say, man, I mean, in terms of like, you could make 60 racks off just getting a national campaign through a commercial that you can shoot in one day. Like, he shot this movie over a long period of time. Yeah. He had a major role in the film. And he only got paid $60,000.
But whose fault is that? Is that Paul Greengrass? Is that like if I'm the producer of that movie and I say, hey, I'll give you 65, it's like, I'll take it. Is it my fault?
Of course.
Of
course. I mean, but who wouldn't take it? There's tons of actors that would die to be in his position. Right,
and he was one of them, and he took it, and he's happy, and he was very proud to be in that movie, and the movie did well. The movie could have bombed.
Yeah.
But it did well, and he did well in it. But the point is it really sort of the producer's fault, Hollywood's fault?
I think it is. I can't help but not blame Hollywood because for his $65,000, like, look what they're reaping off of it. Right. But at the same time, and it's like they purposely did it, right? Because from what I'm aware of, the casting of all the Somalis. They just had an open casting in Milwaukee.
Sure.
Like, you know, they knew they weren't actors. They were like, oh man, like we need some African looking people that we don't have to pay Lupita prices or whatever.
Well, Lupita didn't get paid either, don't
well,
twisted.
Well, you know, Jamie Foxx prices, right? So we don't need Jamie Foxx playing the Somali pirate. We need like some cheap labor. So I think they purposely did. Like they knew what they were doing. Like, so it's like, you know, the slimy producer kind of thing is what I think of. Like,
well, I guess okay. Look, I think that there's some merit to that. There's some merit to like we're casting this big time movie. We have our stars. We have Tom Hanks. We have our established actors. But now we need some Somali. We need some pirate. You know, we need some pirates. I don't know. Let's go to Milwaukee, get some big Somali population. So let's go get some pirates.
Yeah,
let's get some pirate money. You know, and then that's understandable.
It's kind of like praying, like you know. So I don't know. Like I maybe feel like, you know, you get a nomination for Academy Award, like that should automatically be like, okay, we're going to give you another check. Like you're elevating this movie.
Well, sure, but I think that's, you know, we're getting into the economics of how films are made.
And I don't even understand that because it's so convoluted.
It's like we have the money we have, the budgets are set. I mean, the only thing they could have done with him is given him sort of back end deal, but it's like they gave him pirate money, like, you know.
Like, and I guess they helped him, like they're helping him out after the fact.
Congratulations.
You know, letting him borrow a suit from the costuming department and giving him a car to drive around.
And a hotel to sleep in.
Yeah, I mean, you know, well, they should give him that shit for. Well, you know, we can only hope that, you know, people like Paul Greengrass and Tom Hanks,
maybe this will change the system.
Multi-bajillionaires of the studio will just break them off with a little something.
That's just a tough reality, man. Like if I try to put myself in his shoes to like really go to those heights and then
I'll be devastated.
Yeah, like damn, I'm back in the same room.
Like remember yesterday I was at the Oscars. Remember I was on the boat with Tom Hanks.
Knowing me, like I couldn't even go back in the same room because I was going to cuss everybody out on my way out. Like, I mean, Captain Phillips.
I mean, do you think? Do you think he was able to? Do you think he was able to get some girls off that right now?
I hope he got them before this article came out.
He's gonna run up in the studios and be like, "I'm the producer now."
I mean, I hope he got something like out of the deal in the Oscar party before they knew he was broke. I mean, the brother's not. I mean, I'm not gonna get into a physical situation, Akili, like you know. But, well, one last thing before we move on. Like, what if you guys, let's play casting director right now. Let's play director. You're directing a film right now. Like, what would you cast him at? Like, what could he play? Quick. Oh no, that's too long.
I don't know. Like, I mean, it's always like the same thing as like T.I., right? T.I.'s the same in every movie. Like, he would have to be a very niche character that is always playing like whatever role he had in Captain Phillips. Like, especially since he's not an actor. Like, maybe if he's like serious and he like goes to acting school, is like this is what he wants to do. It's like, oh, okay, you could open up your opportunities. But it's like.
T.I. was good in American Gangster though.
But T.I.'s the same in everything he's in.
That's true.
Like he was just the difference from, you know, ATLs and he wasn't pushing a mop.
Okay, that's true. What would you cast him at?
I mean, I could see him playing, you know, a character in The Walking Dead.
I
don't mean a zombie.
I thought you were trying to call him a zombie. So did I. I was like, oh man, I know what you were doing. All right, I'm not. Let's move on. Let's just jump.
I'm doing bad today. I'm sorry.
Just really quick, can we jump back to the Razzies?
Razzies.
I just want to touch on that for a second because one of Akili's hot picks of 2013. One of Akili's favorite movies, After Earth, was a recipient of the Razzie award.
Man,
so the Razzies,
it's award winning, man.
So we know, yes, we know. So the Razzies are awards that happen every year, which is sort of the anti-Oscars. It celebrates sort of the worst films. It's a fun thing. A lot of the filmmakers, a lot of the actors actually will come out to this and pick up the awards and do speeches. It's kind of fun.
And it happens the night before of the Oscars, so it happens the Saturday.
Yeah.
And I think this year was the 34th year. It started in 1980, I believe.
Yep.
But yeah.
And so the big winners were movie 43, which was, you know, some people liked, which I thought was awful.
I didn't even see that movie.
Okay, that was a movie with, you know, star-studded A-list stars, but I think it's like 12 or 13 different sketches, a bunch of different writers and directors, all doing this really sort of over-the-top, you know, comedy that were like sex-filled and gross-filled, you know, and gross out and sex-filled. Like, I got like maybe 2 laughs out of the whole movie. And
yeah.
Anyway, so that was that. And then, of course, After Earth, man, Achille came out of that movie. He was like pumped up.
Were you really?
Oh, man, he went to one knee.
Man,
he was like pumping his fist.
Don't listen to this guy.
I remember.
So that's a movie I actually have seen.
Okay, what do you guys think? Because I need to know. Because
what I was pumped up was just the technology involved in the movie, the camera that they were using.
Oh,
It's the first time. It's the first time that they used a 4K camera in a major Hollywood film.
Okay,
and so that's why I was pumped up. But in terms of the actual storyline and the acting, yeah, it was a little sketchy. It was a little sketchy.
What would you think?
I mean, I actually watched it for the first time like last Wednesday.
Okay.
It was on cable. I thought it was awful. Okay. I mean, as one of my friends pointed out to me when I said it was awful, he said, it's a good father-son movie, and if he was like, if you had a son, you maybe want to see it. That's like, yeah, like it taught him some life lessons, the whole take a knee, calm down, like that thing. But it was like, it was awful.
We are way apologetic. We make so many excuses for that movie as black folks and black men.
No, that's the only.
I hear it so many times like, well, yeah, it is a good father-son movie. Well, Will did. Like, that movie was terrible.
It was like, I just kept wanting him to, like, no offense, but just die. Like, how they, like, it's like, you go from, like, barely hanging on, then he's back to life.
Right.
And then it's like, I didn't even get into how he was alive to begin with, because we saw him fly out the front of that contraption.
Right.
And while his son is buckled in. So, yes, I can see his son surviving, but it's like, how was he able to survive when everyone else died? Like, it was like, okay, like, from that point, it was like, okay, this is so...
He's the one.
Coincidental. Like...
Well, he co-wrote the movie with M. Night Shyamalan. He's Will Smith. Look, whatever. I mean, like, there's been my friend Ray Pratt. I'll call my friend Ray Pratt out because he saw it on cable and he called me up and he was like, "That movie's kind of good." Now he was really upset about you should have watched it on cable. So anyway, yeah, there it goes. So the Razzies. I'm sorry, next year. Let's see if you get a better pick next year.
Man, next year, one of your films might.
Well, yeah, I just pick winners. I'm about to go see Nonstop tonight. Liam Neeson's. All right, so
and Lupita.
Yeah, and Lupita, exactly. Okay, so let's transition into some video games really quickly. We do have just one big announcement. Batman Arkham Knight is announced, and I know how many people play the Arkham series. Batman, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and now this is Arkham Knights. I don't know. I am a big, huge Arkham fan. I'm a huge Batman fan. I love this on the Xbox console. This is one of the sort of the better video game series that are around, and I'm really, really excited about what they're going to do with Arkham Knight, because it's a situation where you're actually, you're Batman doing the damn thing, driving the Batmobile around, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's dope. They've expanded the world. It's like 5 times bigger than some of the previous games you mentioned, and the ability to drive the Batmobile. I think they've upgraded that functionality of it in terms of the game. Like the roads are spaced better, so you're able to run through stuff, and it seems pretty cool.
Yeah. Are you a gamer?
I'm not.
It's okay.
This one gets filed under Captain Phillips.
No, it's cool. No, it's cool. We'll read some because this is a video game. We're both gamers. I'm a big gamer, but this is something that looking at the platform of like say a GTA 5 open world situation. Arkham City did a great open world situation. I think this is going to be as great as well. Moving on, the PS4 is, we talked about this before, we always go back and forth, PS4 versus Xbox One. It's really, really clear now that PS4 is really winning the war. Now, both consoles are going to make a lot of money.
Yeah,
both consoles
they have made a lot of money.
They have made a lot of money. Both consoles have done very well, and Microsoft will tell you in a second that we're doing fine. But the reality is Microsoft is scrambling to sort of like figure out ways to make their console better.
Yeah.
But right now, it's PS4, it's a combination of the brand recognition, the games, the game availability, the quality of the games, the exclusive games, and
the online subscriptions.
I mean, it's
can't
really
forget the cheaper price.
And yes, exactly. Now, and it also has a lot to do with the fact that people, us Xboxers, and I'm an Xbox loyalist, sort of hate this whole sort of non-backwards compatibility of the Xbox One. So that's a situation. I mean, I
think it's too early to be conclusive of who's going to come out top dog. I think it's a tortoise versus hare scenario.
Right.
Like it's a marathon, not a sprint. Like, so we'll see, like, come around November, December of this year, like who's really killing the game. Like after E3, like we'll see who's really like emerging. But I mean, PS4 is really smashing Xbox at this very moment.
Sure. That's fine.
So,
I mean, well, Xbox is doing a couple things. When they jump down, Xbox is doing a couple cool things. The first thing they're doing is they're getting like a lot of independent developer support right now. So they're really trying to do some things where they are inviting more folks out to come and develop apps and things for the Xbox One platform. I think their plan was to develop have the Xbox One be the only box you have in your house.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that they're doing with your television integration, with television and games, and a lot of things with the Kinect technology, which is all fantastic. The technology is amazing. There's just not enough shit to do with the technology.
Right.
So what they really got to do is really ramp up the ability for developers and other folks to be able to make stuff to make this cool.
I think by adding the developer component is definitely going to do that, because there's a lot of programmers and developers that want to be able to, showcase their games, and they don't really have an outlet because they don't have, the big budget, they don't have the distribution channel, they don't have the company backing them. So this is kind of like when the App Store first came out and they opened it up to developers, and it was just like a huge proliferation of new apps and new games for the iPad and for the iPhone. Like, it's going to be the same thing for the Xbox.
Right.
So
I agree. And then the last thing Xbox is doing is they just announced this whole open music platform where they're going to allow Xbox Music they'll have videos as well.
Yeah, 92,000 music videos will be able to be viewed through this app. And really, they're trying to compete against the Spotifys and the Beats Musics of the world. And so they have you download the app, you pay a subscription of $10 a month, and you have access to all the music you want, and then all these videos. And there's also, they're trying to go against Vivo and YouTube and all that stuff. So
we'll see. There's some things happening there. Let's transition into some nerd culture stuff. Hugh Jackman, my guy Hugh Jackman, was just sort of talking about Wolverine, and sort of people were really, he is the iconic face of Wolverine, but what he's saying is, Hugh Jackman is my age, actually, or a little old, maybe a little older than me. He's my age, but and I look something like that. So we're the same age, same physique, but but Hugh's saying, like, this is not sustainable. And it's inevitable. So people should get used to the fact that he's going to have to be recast at some point. And we have, Days of Future Past is coming out, and I think there's another Wolverine movie, definitely a sequel coming in the works. But he's kind of hinting at he can't. What it takes for him to become Wolverine from a physical standpoint is a lot. You see those workouts?
I'm sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and when he eats and how he has to do, like
the discipline to be able to have that physique, like. But aside that,
I know all about that. This point it takes me. Woo!
I mean, he's been playing this role for 14 years, 7 movies. Yeah. Like, I think that's a long run. But for me, it's hard to see someone else playing the Wolverine aside from him. Like, what's your take on Wolverine?
Wolverine's my favorite character of X-Men ever, like from the cartoons and in the movies. Like, just it's great. But I mean, when I saw the article and the way I thought about it was the same. You have to think about like Batman, James Bond, like Superman, like whoever. It's like it's not.
It's inevitable.
Yeah, and it's rare that anyone ever goes this long. Like I think he is the longest. So it's like I think so maybe that's why like hits a little bit harder, because it's like you thought that it's like, well, when he stops, they're going to stop doing Wolverine, but you're like, that's forever. That's not going to happen. So
it was also interesting. I remember when this was cast. I remember when Hugh Jackman was cast, and we were all, because it was originally an actor called Dougray Scott. He was a villain in Mission Impossible 2, and he turned the role down so he could be the villain in Mission Impossible 2. It's a bad move, Dougray Scott.
Man.
He ended up being
who?
Exactly. He's Dougray. I think he's a Scottish actor, but anyway, he's so he turned the role down. Hugh Jackman got it. I remember thinking, Hugh Jackman. And then the interesting thing about Hugh is, from 14 years ago when he first did that thing, if you look at pictures from then, you look at this picture now, I mean, he looks way better now 14 years ago later than he did when he actually originated the role. So I don't know. I think he can do it forever. We'll see. I'm a guy who watched.
Sorry, you got to say the same thing about Jesse Eisenberg, where you were like upset.
Well, I mean, we're gonna get into that right now, but we're gonna get into that because. But I will say that I was a guy who loved Roger Moore, old ass, cranky ass Roger Moore as James Bond when he was like, fat and could barely fit in tuxedo and doing bad karate moves. I was like, get him, Roger. So I don't know. I was a Roger Moore guy from James Bond, so I wish he would stay, forever. Anyway, transitioning into Superman versus Batman. Zack Snyder has gotten a lot of heat over casting. Obviously, the fanboys have just been going nuts. And I'm a DC guy myself, so I'm a Batman guy, as I already said. Fans have gone nuts over the casting of Ben Affleck as Batman, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, my girl as Wonder Woman, like her name's escaping me right now. People are really like every move that he's made, every casting decision, they're like, ah, and that's kind of what we as fanboys do. But Zach is he's really bit back. Like he's doing a lot of press for the new 300 movie he's involved in, and he's finally sort of speaking on this. And he's kind of went at the fans a little bit. He's like, basically he said, we know the material, you don't, so you don't know what we doing. So I'm paraphrasing, obviously. You don't know what we doing. We know the material. Trust us. So you think I don't know the canon? You think I don't know the history? Either the reason why we're casting these people are very specific reasons. Like, why don't you wait to see the movie first? He also said that Ben Affleck is, he's perfect for this Batman. We're exploding the world. Jesse Eisenberg was nominated for an Oscar. So why? I don't understand what the beef is. It's not like I cast one of my homeboys. Yeah. Well, he said not like I cast one of my friends and one of my buddies. So he's like, trust the process. Like, this movie's coming out in 2015, so trust the process. What do you think?
I mean, well, he didn't say homeboys, but he did say
friend.
Haters are hating,
which
I thought stood out more than that's how he ended it. I was like, man, like. What's happening here?
That was a mic drop moment.
Oh my God!
What else, Zach? Haters gonna hate.
Absolutely. But no, I mean, like maybe he could have said it more gently.
Sure.
But because facts are facts. Like, yeah. But I do see where he's coming from. Like, he's making the movie, or they are making the movie. Like, they know what they're doing. Like, and they're not making it to please people who aren't filmmakers.
Yeah. Keely?
I mean, I appreciate the pushback. Like, he is a filmmaker. He is a power player. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's in the driver's seat. So, I mean, he has a history of success. So, I mean, I think this is going to be explosive. Yeah. And I think a lot of creative minds and a lot of genius was put into developing this. So I don't think they'll be that far off.
Yeah,
so.
And at the end of the day, if you don't like Ben Affleck and Jesse Eisenberg, like, don't go see it.
Yeah,
like, but it's still going to break records. Yeah. Like,
well, the power of what he's saying really comes. What I like about this is like he is basically saying like, I'm already directing the movie. The script's already written. The checks are already being cashed. You guys have no choice but to sit back and come to a movie or not. Yeah. No one's not going to see this movie.
Absolutely.
So I like his pushback. And
I like the bravado.
The bravado's like, look, I know what I'm doing. You don't. When the lights go down and the movie comes up, you can judge it then. In the meantime, shut the F up. Haters gonna hate.
I'm not going to listen to this for another 2 years.
Drop. 2 years later, come see me. I'm optimistic. I did not love his take on Superman. I'm on the fence on Zack Snyder in general. I mean, I loved 300 obviously as well did. I really loved Watchmen for the most part. It was pretty faithful adaptation of the graphic novel. A little long. I kind of love what he did. Sucker Punch was horrible. And then the Owl movie. I don't know about that one. But Superman, I was a little disappointed. But it's hard when you're retelling origin stories.
I finally watched Superman last week, and I wasn't that disappointed.
It was a good movie. Yeah. I'm saying it's kind of it's got a lot of good stuff in it, but it's got a lot of other stuff in it too. So I don't know. Did you like Superman?
Haven't seen it. but I'm going to see 300 tonight. Tickets already bought.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's right. That's tonight. Oh,
yeah.
I'm gonna see that too. Maybe I'm gonna see 300 tonight instead of nonstop. All right. So moving on, we're going to just jump into some tech stories real quick on the way out. We got a couple of those. Facebook, now, we've been talking a lot about drones over the last few weeks, and Amazon with the drones, and the FAA's approved drones flying around. Facebook now has a drone program coming out.
Yeah.
Akili, tell us about this.
So, I mean, the idea is to bring the internet or connectivity to 5 billion people that do not have access to the internet. And so these drones will provide that capability. And so Facebook wants to spend $60 million to purchase this company called Titan Aerospace. And essentially, this company creates this orbital solar-powered drone that flies across the globe. I think I want to say maybe like 30 miles up.
Yeah, it's high.
And it's very high. It's higher than the FAA. FAA is only 60,000 feet.
Yeah.
So which is only about 10 miles. So they're like 30, 40 miles up. And so essentially it provides like a internet connectivity for areas where there's not a lot of infrastructure. And so Facebook's idea is to be able to have, a lot of people log on to Facebook, which in turn will be able to create more ad revenue as they expand in the future.
Right. I think that is, I mean, so that here's what it's one of these things, and I'm terrified of drones. I know this is kind of what we've been saying. I'm terrified of the whole drone. For a guy that does a tech podcast, I'm terrified of all these advanced technology. But drones is a situation. So I love the idea of hiding behind the fact that we're going to be able to provide internet to these places that don't have it.
Right.
The reality is Facebook's going to have a bunch of drones constantly flying around doing a bunch of whatever they want to do.
Yep.
Facebook's already pretty powerful. I'm wondering, like we talked about Facebook's first 10 years and what they're able to accomplish in this first 10 years, how it completely has transformed us as a culture and a society.
Yeah.
I'm really fearful of what's going to happen in the next 10 years, building upon this gigantic base that they have of data. We talked about all the data mining they're able to do, all the info they've collected in the last 10 years. The fact that they're going to have drones in the air is like, I don't know, call me an alarmist, but I'm scared.
As a person that used to work in aerospace, you should be scared.
Okay.
of drones.
Yeah, what's your take?
But nah, like, I mean, I think it's cool. Like, in theory, like, yeah, I think that's awesome. Like, that this is how you're spreading it. In practicality, like, I don't, like, where's the infrastructure coming from? Like, okay, so we give these people Wi-Fi and internet, but are we dropping computers and iPads and cell phones? Like,
Not from 30 miles up.
yeah, exactly. It is like, and then it's like, and we're giving them internet connectivity because they can't get it where they are because they're in some remote village or something. So, like, what exactly are they going to be using it on?
Right.
Like,
Well,
so that's what makes me wonder, like, what is the ulterior motives here with, like, not with just Facebook, but for all these companies that are saying, we're putting stuff up in the air. It's like,
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like mobile, especially in Africa, like there's a lot of mobile opportunities in terms
Sure.
of the price point for the cellular phones. Like they might be a little bit more dated. They may not be getting the Galaxy and the iPhone, but there are phones that are smartphones that are cheaper price point that people can still log on and, you know, send a text message, send a photo, watch a video, very simple like navigation that are being offered to third world countries. And I think that's the move because he's seeing like, hey, all these hands and eyes, all these eyeballs and ears will have a device. Well, Facebook needs to be on them. So why not control that infrastructure from the sky?
Right.
and of course, you're going to have to, like, log into Facebook to even search on something and check your email.
Right. And the other thing is, before we move on, is like the bearing the lead here is that this is just another Facebook power move because this isn't the fact that Facebook is looking to build drones. Facebook's looking to buy Titan Aerospace.
Yeah.
So they're going to buy Titan Aerospace, who makes drones, so they can have their own drone. I mean, they're going to have
A drone, they're going to have a drone program.
Yeah, so they're
Like,
gonna have a drone program. Like
that's
that's the lead that I'm kind of burying here. That's kind of what's really scary about this, you know, because they're buying WhatsApp and they try to buy Snapchat. That's one thing, but we're buying Titan Aerospace.
Are they taking the weapons bay door off
Exactly.
of it? Like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
Like,
are they
and
spying
that's-
on us?
Yeah,
Like-
that's what makes me. That's why I say it's like, oh, this is just like.
It's not like they hired a bunch of cats to develop some drones.
Yeah, and it's not like they're like, oh, okay, let us just put some panels on top of your drone.
Right.
It's like, no, we're gonna buy your company.
Yeah, we're gonna put a Facebook logo
Yeah,
on the other side
yeah.
of Titan. Yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. But I'm not very optimistic about that. One of the other things that we want to talk about is this Beats Music. You know, I just want to talk about Beats Music real quick. But Beats Music is the system we talked about, which is the Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine competitor to Spotify. They now are doing some really cool things. They're also opening up, just like Xbox, but they're opening up their whole system to developers. They made this API public, so which allows all these developers to make stuff. Their goal really is to be able to have beats in the car, beats everywhere you go, beats music everywhere you go, because this is one of the main things with the competing, even iTunes. Like, you can't really port this stuff without your mobile device. They want to make it so that it's a part of our everyday life. One of the things the CEO said is that people are paying $100 a year for music. They should be able to have it wherever they want. And I agree.
All access.
All access. I mean, this is huge for me because I'm a Spotify loyalist right now. But that news made me want to switch to Beats. What do you think?
I mean, I think this move is smart. I think Spotify's already done this. They've opened up their API, years ago, and so I think this is part of the natural progression for Beats Music. And I think where these subscription services are going, like, they have to give that value to the consumer, to the customer, because like you said, like, people want to be able to have their content on demand wherever they are. And like, I think it's essential. Like, if you're on a road trip, you're on a plane or whatever, you're in a different city, like, you want to be able to have it instantaneously.
Right.
And so I think this is a cool move, and also to give other developers an opportunity to customize it for whatever platform they're integrating it into. I think it's very smart.
What do you think?
I'm still old school, so I still use Pandora.
Okay, that's right.
And when they tell me I can't skip anymore, I just change channels. But I am aware of the music subscription markets, and I think like was kind of leery of when Beats moved in. It's like, do we really need another one of these? Because it's already this many that I'm personally not paying to be a member of.
Right.
But they've made a pretty strong and significant push, and like from Ella being in their Super Bowl commercial, like I see the commercials all the time with like AT&T, and it's like they're taking themselves seriously. So it's like, it's interesting to see how they're able to leverage that. And I also think it helps that, the Beats headphones have blown up, but they're cool, they're popular. So it's like, I think people might leave, these other things just to be associated with Beats.
The brand is
cool.
strong. It's cool. I mean, they've done something. They really created a really strong brand with the headphones and otherwise. But then Beats Music, they've created something that is a cultural, cool thing, and people want to be associated with cool. And they also have people like everyone from Ellen DeGeneres to Colin Kaepernick get involved in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, you can't go wrong there. We want to do a little quick, we did a couple more stories, but we can get out of here. But before that, we want to do a little quick product review because we've been talking a lot about this. One of the things that's come out lately is we're talking about the Apple TV versus the Roku versus the Chrome, the Google Chrome that's came out. I purchased a Google Chrome. I have one. It's this little device right here. Now, these are devices actually that plug into your television that allow you to stream. Not stream, but actually download a bunch of content, use a bunch of apps, whether it's TV shows or movies or beyond. Apple TV's been in the game for years now. The price point's down to about $100. I own one. You own one or no?
I'm in the market for Apple TV.
Apple TV
or anywhere that's better.
Apple TV is fantastic. But I had to check out the Google Chrome because it's only $35. So there's a big piece talking now about Roku, which is also very similar to this, which I don't have on me, versus Chromecast. And the Roku, which is very similar to this, is about $50. This is $35. This is great. The only issue I have with the Chrome is it's not self-powered, so you have to plug this in. It's sort of deceiving if you see this here. You have to plug a power device in here, so when you plug it into your monitor, you have to have a cord hanging out as well, which is kind of defeats the purpose. Yeah. Unsightly. However, it's great because what all this allows you to do is be able to stream from any of your device you have, your phone, your tablet, or your PC, whatever you have on your Netflix, whatever it is from your TV. You can stream it from your computer device. You can stream it right to your TV. I've done it in hotel rooms. I've done it all over the place from my phone, Netflix on my phone.
Well, so you could just take it wherever you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
This is why this was great. I mean, this is a little easier to carry around than my Apple TV, lugging that thing around.
Yeah.
So, I was, when I'm traveling in a hotel room and they don't have Netflix and I don't want to do the hotel thing and they allow you to have a USB connection, some do, a HDMI connection, some do, some don't. I plug it in.
Says those nice places.
I love it. The disadvantage is it doesn't really have a lot of app support like Roku does, which has every single app, which is fantastic. Roku also comes with a real remote for a couple dollars more. But I think when it's all said and done, Roku for $50 is probably a little better. But I think as a value, as an extra thing, I don't know if this is my exclusive thing. Like I said, I have an Apple TV, but I really love the Google Chrome.
Yeah, I would say for the the price point, like this is excellent. $35 to have this, and you'll be able to transport it easily, like throw it in your bag, like plug it in wherever you are. I think this is perfect. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I am an Apple TV guy, so I don't know if I will be purchasing those joints. But really? I can see for the guy that doesn't want to spend the C note, like that is definitely.
But even for the portability of it, like this is in my bag, so everywhere I go, I can just pop this up. We can be watching whatever.
I mean, but the Apple TV is the size of a coaster. It's not. Yeah. There's not that much of a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like you can put that in your pocket. You can't put an Apple TV in your pocket.
Nah.
But I mean, if you're traveling, like you could do the same thing with the Apple TV.
Okay. So I say Chromecast, Apple TV combination. If you don't want to spend the money, go with the Chromecast. The Roku's fine, but I feel like it's a good middle ground for you. But in the meantime, I feel like it's Chromecast or Apple TV or a combination of both if you can afford it. That's for you. So one last thing before we get out of here, a couple quick things. We've been talking about, there's a great article in the week about American internet. And this is really something that's fascinating to me because America, the country that created the internet, the country that is the home of Silicon Valley and all these fantastic companies such as Google and Twitter and Facebook and the technology mecca, we are 31st in the world in terms of download speeds, in terms of speeds of internet speeds in general. We're slow. We're 42nd, you know, like we're 42nd in upload speeds. We're 31st in download speeds. We're being beat by like, I mean, the companies we're getting beat by every Hungary, Estonia, Slovakia. Like everybody's beating America.
Pretty unfortunate.
This is ridiculous. Yeah. Right. I mean, this is beyond ridiculous. One of the main reason why this is it's the telecommunications sort of backlog we have here. We have a situation where we have 4 to 5 major telecommunications companies, whether it's Time Warner, Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, who now basically control almost all of the infrastructure of that. And because we have this great, supposedly great, sort of like this Telecommunications Act, which came out in 1996, which was supposed to break up the monopolies. But all it really did is it allowed me to merge with you to merge with him. You take that side of the country, I'll take this side of the country, and then it's all fine. So it was actually made a bigger monopoly because it allowed all these companies sort of buy each other. It went from like a bunch of small companies to 4 big companies. Right. And now we have no competition. I think Verizon stopped building their fiber optic infrastructure in 2010. They haven't laid any kind of fiber optics in 4 years. AT&T's laying a lot of stuff because of Uverse and some others, but we're never going to get there. And so, there's one solution. I want to get you guys' take on this. The solution now, what Obama's trying to do is do a public version of this and say, like, okay, we as America we're gonna lay fiber optic throughout the country and do this as an American public Wi-Fi thing, like other countries do. Of course, he's getting opposition because it's a thing about competition and capitalism.
It's economics.
But what do you think about that?
I mean, I think power in the hands of the cable companies is not a good thing. I think there's this concept called net neutrality, where internet is free to all and everyone. And I think the cable companies are trying to position themselves where they can determine even the speed that you get per website. For instance, like, hey, well, Facebook pays Time Warner, a price point, we'll give Facebook a faster speed than we give Twitter. So when you hop online and you hop on Twitter, it's like, this shit is slow as fuck. But if you hop on Facebook, it's quick. And so I think like there's rules in place to prevent that from happening. But I think that's why when you get those stats about why America is slow is because they want to keep that speed low so that they have the opportunity to up those prices up. You want that fast speed, well, you have to pay. Right. And so I think in a perfect world for the cable company would be to pretty much destroy net neutrality, where they can have the option to determine what the speed is for each site, for each conglomerate. Like if you're going to hop on Google, if you want these services, now Google's going to charge you to use the services because the cable company, the internet provider, is now charging Google for the speed.
Well, that makes sense. We're going to get it, but I just want to say that the problem we're having with that is that most of these people like Comcast are also content providers. Right. So, Comcast, who owns NBC Universal, can say, oh, you want to be on Comcast? Well, guess what? Hannibal, we're going to get super high speed on, but CSI, that's going to be slow. So that's a problem. I mean, any thoughts on this before we get out of here?
No, yeah, like I've got like 2 basically. One is those drones better not get faster service. And then like the second piece is that like as a country, we're so like hypersensitive and worried about like the government controlling our information and things, when it's like we're sitting here and we're watching it happen live time where private companies are controlling it, which I'm even more leery of than the government. Because like, what do they want to do? Because like you were saying, like Comcast, owns, NBC Universal, like all of this stuff. It's like they're not just controlling how fast we're getting stuff, like they're controlling what we're getting and like how we get it. Right. And like that's changing the shape of society.
It is. It's the net neutrality situation has to happen, but when you have these people who control the content the minute we get, that's something we have to look at as well.
Last point too, I think with like the data capping, like we see with cell phones, like when you buy a cell phone and you get
it's ridiculous.
Like once you reach a certain threshold, now you have to pay this extra thing. We're going to start to see that with the internet as well.
Once you slow you down.
Exactly. Once you stream so many videos, Joe, once you play so many games, like there will be a point where you'll begin to have to pay more for a higher premium. And that's going to really
And what's
suck.
unfortunate is that everything is moving toward, like, we have to be online. Like, you can't not be online.
Well, there's lots of money to be made, lots of money for us to spend. That's unfortunate. We're going to get out of here. That was it was great having you. Like, you know,
man, it was a pleasure.
Man, it was cool having you in the studio to be able to chop stuff up with. We went through a lot very quickly. Where can we find you? Online? We got your Twitter handle. You got something? What you got?
You can find me on Twitter at $, no R.
$. Sign.
Yeah, don't be offended if you see some things. It's not my professional Twitter; it's a personal.
Okay, well, you put it out there.
And I just want to say that Eric is a really great guy, very smart, and I wish you well, man. Continue to do great things, bro.
Absolutely, I appreciate the kind words, Keely.
Cool, Keely. Where can we find you?
You can find me at Keely Shine on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can find me at Joe K. Braswell on Twitter and Instagram. It's been a pleasure. We will see you next week for show number 15 of Geek Nerd Tech. We are out.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.
Thanks for watching Black Hollywood Live on YouTube. For more in-depth interviews and news, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion in the comment section below here. See you soon, everyone. Bye.